Based on thorough research, here are the real and actual realities of how and why Nagaland state was created, and how Phizo and the NNC reacted to its formation. The three major factors why the Nagas of Manipur were not made part of Nagaland state when it was officially formed. Were Naga leaders from Manipur ever consulted or invited to join the Nagaland state? What was the impact in Manipur when Nagaland state was about to be formed? And how and why some Nagas of Manipur refused to join Nagaland state? Let's dive in. First, let's have a brief glance how and what factors led to the creation of Nagaland state. When the British arrived in the late 19th century, the Naga Hills were home to hundreds of self-governing villages, fiercely independent, yet bound by shared culture, tradition, and identity. The Nagas lived free, without subjugation to any external or foreign power. In 1918, Naga leaders formed the Naga Club. 11 years later, in 1929, the club submitted a memorandum to the Simon Commission with a key statement: when the British leave India, leave us alone to determine our own future. This became the first political expression of the Naga people under colonial rule, a clear articulation of their aspirations for self-determination. As Indian independence approached, the Nine-Point Agreement was signed in 1947 between the Naga National Council (NNC) and the Governor of Assam, Sir Akbar Hydari in Shillong. It was an early attempt to define the political future of the Nagas. However, the key clause on free Naga areas was interpreted differently by both sides. The NNC viewed it as a step toward independence, while the Government of India saw it as an administrative arrangement. This divergent understanding led to mistrust and the eventual collapse of the agreement. On 14 August 1947, one day before India gained independence, the NNC under A.J. Phizo declared Naga Independence Day. India did not accept this declaration, prompting the NNC to hold a plebiscite in 1951, in which 99.9% of participating Nagas reportedly voted for independence. The 1950s witnessed escalating conflict. The Naga Hills were engulfed in violence, villages were burned, people displaced, and the Indian Army was deployed. Amid this turmoil, the NNC formed the Federal Government of Nagaland (FGN), reaffirming their commitment to complete sovereignty. Yet, amidst the suffering, some moderate Naga leaders, particularly from the Naga Hills, present-day Western Nagaland, and Twinsan region, sought an alternative path. This led to the formation of the Naga People's Convention (NPC) in 1957, spearheaded by Dr. Imkong Liba Au. Unlike the NNC, the NPC aimed for a peaceful and pragmatic solution within the framework of India rather than full independence. After extensive dialogue with the Government of India, the NPC concluded the 16-point agreement in 1960. This agreement laid the foundation for the formation of a separate state of Nagaland, while safeguarding core aspects of Naga identity it provided: protection for Naga customary laws, land, and culture, later enshrined in Article 371A of the Indian Constitution, a provision allowing for the future integration of other Naga inhabited areas, should the people so desire. Finally, on 1st December 1963, Nagaland was officially inaugurated as the 16th state of India, a state born out of resistance and negotiation, conflict and compromise. There are three major reasons why the Nagas of Manipur did not join the state of Nagaland during Nagaland state formation. Let's decode major reasons. Reason 1. It all began with the 16-point agreement of 1960, signed between the Government of India and the Naga People's Convention (NPC), a body formed mainly by Naga leaders from the Naga Hills and the Twinsan region. The negotiations were confined strictly to Naga Hills, now Western Nagaland, and Twinsan region. So when the Government of India and the NPC agreed to create a new state of Nagaland, it included only those two regions, leaving out all other Naga inhabited areas in Manipur, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, and Myanmar. This meant that the Nagas of Manipur were completely excluded, neither invited nor consulted, nor even informed about discussions that directly affected their future. It's a political compromise, not a Naga consensus. At the time, the Indian government wanted a quick administrative solution to end the armed struggle led by the Naga National Council (NNC) under A.J. Phizo. Delhi's approach was simple: settle with the Nagas of the Naga Hills first, deal with the rest later. This made the 16-point agreement not a pan-Naga solution, but a political compromise between Delhi and a limited group of Naga leaders. It deepened divisions among the Nagas themselves. For the Nagas of Manipur, it became a painful reminder that the voices did not matter in decisions made in Delhi or Kohima. Because the truth is, you can refuse an invitation you were not invited. There was no plebiscite, no consultation, and no representation in the Naga People's Convention from the Nagas of Manipur. While the NPC agreed to statehood within India, the NNC, led by A.J. Phizo, was demanding complete independence. Many Nagas in Manipur were ideologically closer to Phizo's vision than to the NPC's moderate statehood plan. To them, Nagaland state was a compromise, not the fulfillment of Naga aspirations. In one angle, Rishang Keishing, one of the most influential Naga leaders from Manipur, openly criticized the 16-point agreement. He argued that it was signed without consulting the Nagas of Manipur and therefore could not claim to represent all Nagas. His message was clear: you cannot unite the Nagas by dividing Manipur without even consulting us. Another powerful voice was Rani Gaidinliu, the Zeleron spiritual and political leader from Tamenglong. She also refused to support the new state of Nagaland when it was formed in 1963. She accused the NPC of ignoring the Zeleron areas of Manipur and Assam, saying the NPC had no authority to decide the fate of all Nagas. Instead, she envisioned a Zeleron homeland within India and formed Zeleron People's Convention in 1965 to pursue peaceful autonomy. Ironically, she rejected both the NNC's armed struggle and NPC's exclusionary statehood. The Nagas of Manipur did not reject Naga unity. They reject being excluded. They were not against Nagas. They were against being ignored. In short, major reason number one: the Nagas of Manipur were not part of Nagaland state because they were excluded from the 16-point agreement that created Nagaland state. Not consulted, not represented, and not even informed. Let's decode reason 2 as to why Nagas of Manipur couldn't join Nagaland state. When the idea of creating the state of Nagaland took shape in the early 1960s, it triggered one of the earliest and most intense territorial debates in Northeast India, a debate that would shape Manipur politics for decades. In July 1960, the Naga People's Convention signed a 16-point agreement with the Government of India, paving the way for the creation of the state of Nagaland. Hidden within that agreement was a seemingly harmless clause. It mentioned the possibility of bringing together all contiguous Naga inhabited areas into one administrative unit in the future, if the people so desired. But this single line sent shock waves through Manipur. For the people of Manipur, especially in the valley, contiguous Naga inhabited areas mean something very real. Their hill districts could one day be taken away from Manipur and merged with the new Naga state. At the time, Manipur was still a union territory under the Ministry of Home Affairs, not yet a fully fledged state. Statehood came in 1972. Even so, it had a functional territorial council with elected representatives, both Meitei and Hill leaders, and they responded swiftly and firmly. The Manipur Territorial Council, along with senior politicians, sent formal protest to New Delhi, warning against any alteration of Manipur's boundaries. Their message was clear: the ancient territorial boundary of Manipur shall not be altered without the consent of its people. Prominent leaders such as M.K. Priyo Brata Singh, R.K. Maipak Sana Singh, and T.C. Tiangkham, the Speaker of the Territorial Council, spoke out in unison. They reminded Delhi that Manipur was not a recent administrative creation. It had existed as a distinct political entity for centuries, long before India's independence. One of their public statements, reported in the Eastern Frontier Gazette and Assembly proceedings of the early 1960s, declared Manipur has existed as a distinct political and historical entity long before independence. No part of it can be ceded to another state under any agreement without consulting the people of Manipur. As word spread about the contiguous Naga areas, close Manipur's valley erupted in protest. Students, youth organizations, and Mirai Pabi women's groups organized mass demonstrations across Imphal and other towns. Banners and editorials appeared in newspapers like the Manipur Times and Huyan Lan Pao, condemning that what may call a secret understanding to divide Manipur's hills. The slogan of that time became legendary: not an inch of Manipur shall be given away. This was in many ways the first major territorial integrity movement in Manipur's modern history. The rising tension forced the government of India to step in. Between 1961 and 1962, the Ministry of Home Affairs issued official clarifications assuring both the Manipur administration and the public the formation of Nagaland state shall be confined to the Naga Hills district of Assam and the Twingshan Frontier Division, and no part of Manipur shall be affected. This assurance helped calm the situation, though the underlying mistrust between communities, Meiteis and Nagas remained. National newspapers like the Times of India, August 1960, and the Assam Tribune, September 1960, reported strong opposition has arisen in Manipur against the idea of merging its hill areas with the proposed Naga state. The Chief Commissioner of Manipur also wrote directly to the Ministry of Home Affairs, warning that the fresh contiguous Naga areas could lead to serious unrest if not clarified. Delhi took the warning seriously. When Nagaland state was finally created on 1st December 1963, its boundaries were deliberately limited to the Naga Hills district and the Twingshan area, excluding the hill districts inhabited by Nagas of Manipur. The government of Manipur, along with political leaders and ordinary citizens, fiercely opposed any attempt to carve out their hill districts. Their unified resistance and persistent protest pressured Delhi to keep Manipur's borders intact when Nagaland was formed. This moment marked a turning point, the birth of Manipur's long-standing territorial integrity sentiment, a theme that continues to echo in its politics today. Thus, in short, reason 2 was the strong and united opposition by the government of Manipur and its people against altering Manipur territorial boundaries. Now let's decode reason 3 as to why the Nagas of Manipur were not included in Nagaland state. When Nagaland was created in 1963, following the 16-point agreement between the Government of India and the Naga People's Convention, some of the Nagas of Manipur refused to join the newly formed Nagaland state. Their decision was influenced by their exclusion from the Naga People's Convention process and political ties with Manipur and their growing participation in Indian democratic politics. Rishang Keishing, a Thongkul Naga from Ukhrul, was one of the most prominent figures behind this decision. A freedom fighter who was once part of the NNC and later a parliamentarian, he became a leading advocate for Manipur's integrity and representative voice for the Nagas within India's democratic system. He supported political recognition and rights for Nagas, but not a merger or secessionist agenda inside India's constitutional framework. A 2026 statement by several MPs reaffirmed this position. Successive Naga chief ministers in Manipur have vowed to protect every inch of it, be it Rishang Keishing, they live and die for Manipur's territorial integrity. Thus, while keeping Kaixing supported the idea of Naga unity in principle, he firmly opposed dismembering Manipur or joining Nagaland without due process. Kaixing and other Manipur leaders viewed the NPC's approach as unilateral and exclusionary. As Kaixing reportedly said, you cannot talk about uniting the Nagas by dividing Manipur without even consulting us. By the 1950s, many Naga leaders from Manipur, such as Raishan Kaising, Yangmaso Saiza, and others, were already active in Manipur's legislature and administration. They had a growing stake in Manipur's political framework, and joining Nagaland would mean losing both influence and their established representation. Within Manipur, Naga tribes also had traditional autonomy through village systems and district councils. Joining Nagaland could have placed them under a new political hierarchy dominated by Naga Hills leaders, threatening their local authority and customary land rights. Kaixing and his contemporaries had embraced constitutional politics, while as a Phizo's NNC demanded full sovereignty. Kaixing therefore opposed both extremes. The Nagas of Manipur also had all ties with government of Manipur, particularly those politicians. For this reason, many Naga leaders from Manipur did not see themselves as outsiders to Manipur political geography. They sought greater autonomy within Manipur, not absorption into Nagaland. Raishin Kaising and other Naga leaders consistently opposed the inclusion of Manipur's Naga areas into Nagaland and defended Manipur's unity in parliament and on public platforms, firmly rooted within Manipur political system. Rani Gaidinliu also opposed Naga integration into Nagaland. She advocated for Zelron self-rule within Manipur and Assam, distinct from Phizo's NNC vision. She accused the NPC of ignoring the Zelron areas of Manipur and Assam, arguing that the NPC had no authority to decide the fate of all Nagas. Some Naga leaders in Manipur also warned that merging with Nagaland would divide traditional territories and create new internal borders among Nagas themselves. According to later allegations made by the NNPGs, when the Government of India representative M.L. Kampani visited Manipur, accompanied by Nagaland Chief Minister Jiten Jamir, several Manipur Naga leaders reportedly declined the suggestion or invitation to join Nagaland. However, it is important to understand who they were meeting. Many of the Naga leaders they met in Manipur at the time were already deeply involved in Indian electoral politics as MLAs, MPs, ministers, or holders of administrative posts. For such leaders, agreeing to merge with Nagaland would have meant losing their political positions, constituencies, and influence within Manipur governance system. Naturally, they opposed the idea. This pattern has repeated even in recent decades. The Naga leaders who build their careers within Indian electoral politics often refuse any proposal that could dissolve their political base in Manipur. Their responses reflected personal political interest rather than collective aspiration of the Nagas of Manipur. So when a government of India representative meets another set of leaders who are also functioning within the Indian political structure, the outcome is predictable. Both sides carry their own institutional commitments, political calculations, and personal ambitions. Under such circumstances, they cannot be expected to express the full or genuine voice of the Nagas of Manipur. The outcome would have been very different if Naga nationalists from Nagaland were directly engaging with Naga nationalists from Manipur, rather than negotiations being conducted between government appointed officials and political leaders operating within the same Indian electoral system. Thus, the refusal of Nagas of Manipur, including leaders like Rishang Keishing, Yangmaso Saiza, Rani Gaidinliu, and others to join Nagaland state was shaped by political prudence, constitutional participation, local autonomy concerns, political ties with Manipur, and their own understanding of self determination within their specific context. Whatever the past years may have been, regrettable and unfortunate as they are, we should not keep pulling out negativity or dwelling on those dark moments that created deep division among the Nagas. It is time for the Nagas to move forward, exploring every possible path toward unity and speaking with a genuine collective voice. Constant accusations and allegations against one another must stop for the greater good of the Nagas as a whole. We should turn toward unity and reconciliation for the strength, dignity, and future victory of the Naga people. Only then can we truly realize the long cherished aspiration of the Nagas as a free and united people. Thank you.